right. I pressed record. One take. So yesterday turned out pretty interesting. After making that intro video, I decided to send it out to some of my friends on Facebook. And so I said basically, well, it doesn't matter what I said. I just said I would love for you to watch this video basically. And I just started sending it out to people on my friend list, which is like around 500 people. And I was just going to send it to some, and then pretty soon as I'm pressing the buttons, I'm like, why am I just selecting people to send this to? Like, do I not want to get to know the other people on my friend list? Do I not want them to see this video? So I ended up just sending the video to everyone on my friends list. And so if you're watching this, you probably got that yesterday. And like 100 or so, over 100 people ended up watching the video, which I was very happy or pleased with. And like 40 some people ended up reaching out to me through Messenger and just saying, hey, thanks, or making some comments or giving some advice, which I also appreciate. One of the, so thank you, William, for your advice. He said, make your video stationary. Don't move it or don't hold it in your hand, because you're gonna get a bunch of like motion or graininess in your video. So because of William, I now have the camera set on a table, and I do have a tripod, but I'm not going to use it because that would go against my whole like be spontaneous thing. And if I found myself in the woods, I would probably not have a tripod, and then I would feel like, oh, I can't do the video and that sort of thing. So no tripods, William, but I will put it on a table. That was good advice. He also said you should make a bullet list, and I was like, yeah, I probably should organize my thoughts a little better, think about what I'm going to say. So here's my bullet list for today. One bullet point on there, the 25 hertz whale. Yeah, pretty deep. We're going to get into the 25. It's not 25. It looks like 25 because it's backwards. It's the 52 hertz whale, also known as the loneliest whale. Anyway, I just wanted to say to you, you friends of mine who reached out to me yesterday, that was really encouraging. Thank you for doing that. Really appreciated every one of you. And if you still are catching up, gonna watch the videos, I'd love to hear from you still. Gonna keep going, even if you all hated it, and now only one of you decides to continue watching this second video. That's all right. I'm doing this, I guess, a lot for me, but I do feel if you keep watching that there will be some great stuff in here that I'm really excited to talk about. Today I just wanted to talk about, kind of go back to the beginning of this self-awareness awakening adventure that I've been finding myself on for the last bit of time. How far back do I want to go? So when I was 20 or so, maybe 19, I really started to ask a lot of questions about life, about existentialism, why we're here, God, who am I? You know, all those kinds of big questions. I really started to really deeply care about them, and I started reading a lot of books. The first book I picked up on that topic was Traditional African Religion, aka Voodoo. figured out that wasn't really for me, although I do have voodoo symbols burnt into my shoulder and the shoulders of two of my friends from that little phase. And anyway, I just went on studying like Taoism, a little bit of Hinduism, Buddhism, Native American spirituality, Baha'i faith, and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, as I went along, I ended up going, after like 5 years of that, I ended up joining a Christian church and studying the Bible for the next 20 years. And that 20-year phase was something maybe that we'll talk about more in the future, but let's just say that throughout that long window of time, at the end of it, I looked at myself and I thought, I don't like who I've become. I don't like what I'm a part of. I don't agree with the way things are here. I'm unhappy. I don't know myself very well anymore. Anali, are you going to sit there and chew on that gross piece of leather the whole time? I'm going to take that away because that's disgusting sounding. I don't know if you could hear that, but that was like right up in my left ear. Anyway, get away from that. Come here, come here. Come here, buddy. Come here. Come here. Come here. Come here. Oh, you want to say hi? Hello. Oh, let's lay down. Let's be still. Yeah, so anyway, I really felt like I had lost my soul. Somehow, through letting myself care too much about what everybody else thought and how I should live in a way for everybody else, I lost my own soul, I feel. Looking back now, I just was not living my authentic, honest life. And that's dangerous. That's what I want to talk about today in the next half of this video. We're at 8 minutes. So, to pick this up, the 52 Hertz whale, also known as the loneliest whale, is the story of this whale that they found back in the 80s. They've been studying it since 89. This one particular whale, they don't know what species it is. It's just this lone whale out in the Pacific Ocean that cruises around by himself and has been for the last, however... Give me that piece of leather. I said no. For the last however many years that is. So the reason he swims alone is because he sings a song that is higher frequency. 52 hertz is a higher frequency than the other whale species. Probably they think he's closely related to blue whales, but he has no pod. He has no family, which is unusual for whales because whales travel in pods. They sing to each other. They have whale songs in the same frequency. So I've always been really, once I learned about this whale, it really spoke to me, and I thought, you know, it's important for us to have a pod. It's important for us to be able to sing in harmony with those around us. Otherwise, it's very easy to find ourselves all alone. And at this time of my life where I really started to realize I was having some personal issues, I felt very alone. I felt very disconnected. Even though I was in community, in this church family, supposed to be this church family, and there are people there who I still relate to and get along with fine. But even in that massive community, I felt alone, I felt disconnected, I felt unheard, I felt misunderstood, and I felt like I wasn't myself. Hence, my Instagram name at the time was Mr. Invisible. I even wrote a song at that time called Mr. Invisible. I felt invisible. I felt like my song wasn't heard. I felt alone. I wonder, I can only imagine or guess that maybe even some of you feel that way. Even right now, you feel like you're not heard in this culture you live in. You feel misunderstood. You feel alone. You feel like you don't have the kind of close community that you're looking for. And I feel like that too. I feel like even though I'm putting myself out there and meeting a lot of people, I want closer connections. I want more honest and authentic connections with others. And because of the culture we live in, I feel like that is hard to find. So, you know, we go out to music events and we might have a community there. We might go to poetry readings and there's a community there. We might find little pockets of community that are good. Those are all good things. I love anything that brings together community, even DigFest. And I think it's important to have those things. But what I find in my life is that the closeness that I want, or the more, the deeper authenticity that I really want, is still lacking a lot of times in those things. So that's kind of what I'm working toward remedying. That's been a part of my journey to go out and find these communities and see how they're doing communities, see what that's like, see what's working and what's not working. And I do want to talk more about those, and I think that a lot of you said you have a lot of interest in hearing more about that, and yes, that's all going to be coming. Also, just on a side note, so many of you are interested in hearing more about that when I told you I was going, so I decided that I'm going to put together a presentation which we're planning to present at Poe Market maybe in November. I'm just trying to I still want to go visit the farm first, thinking about doing that next weekend. And then I want to just put this presentation together and talk about all the different places that I went. And I would love for any of you to come and check that out. I'll let you know more about when that's going to be. Anyway, so that is kind of where I'm at right now. I have a deep longing for deeper community, and I think that these videos that I'm putting together right now are a manifestation of that desire. So in some ways, I'm really like putting myself out there with these videos. You know, I sent the link to people that I thought, I don't know if they're going to really relate to these videos. They're going to probably think they're, I don't know, whatever. There was some fear there on my behalf. But then I thought, well, so what? And I'm trying to live my way more like that. Overcoming fear, overcoming my comfort zone, expanding the walls, breaking free from my, mundane or whatever. Which reminds me of this little book I've been reading, Earth Medicine, backwards. It's, I was going to read it backwards to you. Earth Medicine. Just the other day I came across, it says, risk choosing the uncertain instead of the predictable and you will never tire of being alive. Loved that. Let's take some risks. Let's live life, because this is the only one we got. Let's risk putting ourselves out there with others so that, here's a little Bible text for you, to make a friend, you have to make yourself friendly. So let's make ourselves friendly. Let's dive into deeper connection and not be lone whales out there in our culture. Let's create pods and sing together. How about that? 15 minutes and 45 seconds. Talk to you all tomorrow.